Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about office politics. So let's get into it. So the question in question was posted on a video that I made where, well, the question in that video was, how do you become the lead software developer? And the short version of what I tried to explain in that video is that you need to, of course, have skill and seniority and a little bit of enthusiasm and so forth, and then you need to involve yourself in the business side of the company, how the company is run, and take part in like extra activities such as maybe hosting some learning lunches, or maybe you have non-technical stakeholders who need help with customers or things like that. So the question was, I really like your videos, Frederick. Please help me understand. I have been working as a remote engineer outside the USA, and I've proved from time to time, time and time again, delivering critical results, and I've taken on volunteer leadership to help in certain cases, but still on-site permanent employees are preferred no matter how many times I save their ass. Also, I feel a biased attitude sometimes, so what should I do? I don't think I have any options. So, yeah, office politics they're tricky. They're very tricky. Politics in general are tricky. So, at least in my experience, office politics and like who gets the promotion, who is the favorite, and so forth, it really comes down to what the people in power favor. I'm very sorry to say, there's no way around it. But if you think about it, it's not that weird. Ask yourself, if you lead a company or if you have your own business and you have some employees, how is it so weird that someone would have certain employees they like better than other employees? Well, that's always a given. Like, everybody has a favorite usually. You have different friends, right? And some people you like better, some people you don't like so much. And although we want to believe that people should be very fair and so forth and so forth, that's not always a given. And unfortunately for you, if you are a there are, like, I like to say that there are certain things that you can change about your behavior and certain things that you can't change about your behavior. I like to say that if I need an apple and you give me a pear, well, that's not going to help me because I need an apple. And if you're a pear, yeah, sorry, you're out of luck. But then there are situations where you might not be exactly the type of apple that I want, but you're still an apple, so you can still fit and like a morphin, like kind of you can still do the thing right. And that's the thing that you kind of have to figure out here, because the reality of the situation is that if you feel as if you are being pushed aside or like that they are favoring other people, such as on-site permanent employees, that's not, I mean, even when you say it, it doesn't sound weird to me at all, because I like to say that usually the easiest way to get promoted in a company is to drink from the same coffee dispenser as the person who is in charge of promoting people. It's a sad thing, but it's often very true. And that's if you're already trying to make these sorts of initiatives on your own and you're not seeing this organic traction for your career or within the company, I think that you should do what I like to say is a more hands-on approach. I've said that in a few videos as well, guys. If your idea is that you should, and I'm not saying that this can't work, because it can work, it's just not so sustainable for a lot of people. You can be the I'll stick my nose to the grindstone type of worker and just hope that your manager notices all your hard work. But in many cases you're going to have to ask for things, and the key thing here is to ask in the right way and set expectations in a realistic way, and also on the other side of things, know when you're being ignored or when you're being humored without actually seeing any real results, and that's what I want to talk about. So your best bet is to go and talk to your manager, and before you do that, I highly suggest that you create some notion for yourself of what is it that I want to achieve. So if you want, in this scenario, to be the lead software developer or something like that, then go and talk to your manager and ask about how you could go about achieving that. To say something like, I feel like I would like to take the next step in my career and maybe move up into a lead role or something like that, and I would be very interested in hearing your thoughts on if that's possible, how could we make that happen, if so, if there are any problems, or is there something I need to work on within myself, are there things that you could help me with, so that we can make this happen. And then it really comes down to the fertility of, like I like to say, that you really have to adjust your expectations depending on the company that you find yourself in. As an example, it's really weird if you have the mindset that I'm going to become like a CTO in a company where like there's 3 people working or whatever, or if you're in a gigantic super corporation that you're going to make like a rocket career trajectory up towards the top. It's just usually not the way it works. So you have to set expectations accordingly. But the thing that you can expect, and you should expect, is that your manager will hear you out and then listen to the perspective of the manager, because this conversation is the thing that I can't answer this for you, because every company is different. If your manager if you feel resistance, if you feel like this person is not, like you're not really getting any traction on this, like they're not really helping you with this, it might be because the company is in a position where they can't really accommodate this, and then you really don't have any option, you have to go somewhere else. Or it might be some other reason, but if they're anywhere near like a decent manager, they will at least try, because that's kind of their job. They will hear you out, and they will try to give you some type of guidance. And this is where you have to take a little bit of responsibility for your own career, and this is a really delicate game. And trust me when I say this, guys, I have fucked this up many times. It's really tricky, because if you're too impatient, you're going to piss people off and hurt your chances of actually being promoted. But if you don't push at all, nothing's going to change. So you need to apply enough pressure, show that you're interested, and kind of keep on asking a little bit, with a respectful amount of slack time in between, until your manager and you yourself can come to a sit down and create some type of roadmap for your personal development. And you want that roadmap to be fairly concrete, because what you want is to be able to say that I have checked these boxes and I feel like I'm doing these things. When I've reached this amount of progression, I should be at least eligible to see some type of milestone be in place, if it's a higher salary, or maybe an increase in responsibility, or a different title, or something like that. So you create a roadmap, right? And that's the first thing that you should do. And then when you have that in place, start working towards that, and then do some type of check-in with your manager to just look at how things are going. And then you do something for yourself that you don't tell your manager, and that is that you create a personal deadline, a evaluation, if you will, where you yourself reflect a little bit on how much progress have you actually seen on this roadmap, like how much many meaningful things have your manager actually given you along the way. Because here's the thing, even though it's your manager's job to help you with this sort of career progression and be there for you, it's far from a requirement for them to do that. I've seen many cases where it's they will string you along, like they will give you new things to work on. They will give you different things to work on. There's always something that isn't right, or there's always something that you're doing wrong, or there's something else that you should be doing, and that's why you want things to be concrete, because and unfortunately you can't stop this. So that's why you should set your own deadline. And if you reach a certain point and you realize that you've been working on this thing and you've been doing all the things right, but the roadmap just keeps on growing or changing, it never settles, then your only option is to quit the company because they're stringing you along, basically. And that can be for many reasons. It can be because you're simply not the sort of person they want to promote and they don't want to tell you, or it is because they're like just exploiting you. It's a very hard thing to say. So what I want you to take away from this is that office politics are difficult. It really often comes down to whoever is in power, who do they like, what do they value, etc., etc. And if you are trying your best to accommodate their needs and trying to do all the right things and go to the right meetings, have the right attitude, etc., etc., and you're not seeing your career progression happening in the way that you wanted to, you need to talk to them and say, I would like to create a roadmap and create some goal. Like, say, I would like to be a tech lead, or I would like a salary increase or something like that. Is there a way for us to make that happen? And then have that discussion and see how willing are they to discuss this with you. And in an ideal case, you create a roadmap where you start working and progressing, and then you do check-ins with your manager to see how things are going, and then create for yourself a personal deadline where you say within a year or 6 months or 2 years, I don't know, if I haven't progressed at least to this point, I'm going to start looking for another job, because it might be that the roadmap, just you can never progress on it. It's just something that you got from your manager, but there's really never ever going to be a situation where you can meet the requirements in the roadmap. Have a great day.